Hello. Welcome to another exciting episode on DNA Hardwired, common sense turned upside down. My name is Pop, and with me are my co-host Jackie and his brother Aaron. We've added another co-host also, and that's Jackie and Aaron's sister, Alicia. You guys want to say hey?
Hey, everybody. Thanks for taking another Sunday listening to us. Remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Don't take none of this stuff seriously.
All right. And as you say, Brother Jackie, if you got some serious issues going on, especially on the subject we're talking about, go ahead and seek out some professionals.
Go see a therapist. We're not your therapist.
That's right.
We're here to make you laugh. We'll piss you off.
Yeah. and you.
Hey, man, I provide services to therapists. Don't tell everybody that comment ain't one size fit all.
All right then. Okay. On our last episode, we talked about why black men weren't in the home and the role that the government seemed to play in that. I think it was a pretty lively discussion. Any follow-ups on that?
Not much of a follow-up, I'll say, however, I will say this. If the government was in the business of promoting families, literally it wouldn't be such a benefit to break it. Like, to break up your family is a paid circumstance for government. Lawyer get paid, courts get paid, everybody gets paid, but the person that funded the marriage.
And that's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to talk about choices and alternatives. Because if I'm not mistaken, if we want to be with someone, we don't have to do it under the jurisdiction of the law. We don't have to go through the legal process of becoming married. We have choices. There are alternatives. Sometimes, the choices and alternatives, they bring different benefits, and sometimes those benefits are positive, and then sometimes it bring negative consequences. But it's all about choices and alternatives, and that's really one of the big reasons I would like to, talk about choices and alternatives. And one of the areas is in the area of government. But Alicia, I think you were saying something too.
By that definition alone, like it contradicts the whole "we the people" statement.
Correct. That's exactly where I was going. It contradicts because the government, the people that are in control, they are appointed by citizens.
Yeah, I agree.
And their control should be, their power should be limited.
I agree with that too. I agree with that too. Okay. It is the government is responsible for making and enforcing laws, maintaining social order, collecting taxes, and providing essential public services. That's basically what they're supposed to do. Responsible for making and enforcing laws, maintaining social order, collecting taxes, and providing essential public services. Now, as we're going through this, all these subjects that we talk about, I think we will all agree that there's not necessarily any one way of doing these things. Again, we have choices in most cases, we have alternatives. So this is what the government is supposed to be responsible for. Comments on that? Agreed? Disagreed? Is there anything I left out? Is there anything else you think they're supposed to be responsible for?
I mean, truth be told, it sounds like, if just taking my perspective, it sounds like all they do is, enforce taxes.
Oh, that's a big one. That's definitely a big one.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, let me ask you a question. Go ahead, brother.
Okay.
Go ahead, brother.
No, just saying, to me, that's about where it starts and stops.
Okay, let's talk. This is still relating to government, so it's not getting off the subject. Still government. Mm-hmm. Question for you on this tax thing. A lot of people seem to have a problem with this tax thing, and that is, it's listed as one of the big responsibilities of the government. Can you see another choice, alternative to taxes?
I counter that with, how can the government be responsible for taxes and there's no law stating taxes are legal?
There is a law that says taxes are. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You gonna say something, Alicia?
I said I totally agree.
Okay. I don't have the law at my fingertips. I think we talked about this before, but the government can establish taxes.
No, they do establish taxes. They're not. It's not legally allowed.
Yeah, it is. They have the authority.
There's no.
Yeah. They have the authority to establish taxes.
Make government rich.
All right, that's true. Okay, what else does it do?
That's about it.
No, that's not what it does. Every day, not every day, but when we do, we have cars. We drive on these things. They call them roads. Wait, let me finish.
I was just about to say, it provides infrastructure.
That's right. That's right. And in that infrastructure, like you were just saying, Jackie, we can include roads, public buildings, all of these other things. There's a ton of things that taxes do that if we didn't have them, we wouldn't have those. That's why if you look at, I hear myself yelling, damn. That's why I think if you look at like they so-called third world countries that don't really have a solid type of tax system, that's why they third world, because they don't have the money, the funds for the infrastructure, like Jack was just saying, and for military, for all these other things. The taxes pay for our military. Whenever there are, you guys already know this. I don't know, Aaron. I know you know this. I don't know why I'm even going through this. It's not just for them to get rich. But go ahead, brother.
Hold on. I was trying to. I missed what you were saying right before that.
About what?
And I know I had a comment on it. I don't remember the comment. And like you as you kept talking, I wanted to stay with the conversation.
Oh, okay, I
so
got
it
you.
slipped my mind.
Okay, I got you. But yeah, basically all I'm saying is, there are things that without taxes we would not have as a country.
Such as?
Well, infrastructure, as your brother said, roads, buildings, certain buildings, government agencies, all of these, a military. Whenever there are emergency situations, law enforcement, schools, those things are paid for by taxes. Agreed?
Agreed.
Okay. And now we're talking about choices and alternatives. If it wasn't for taxes, give me an alternative or a choice to providing those services and all those other things. If it wasn't for taxes.
An alternative to taxes. I don't really have that. Nor do I have the countries that are not paying taxes that are doing way better.
Right. Because there aren't any.
Give me something.
There aren't. I'm gonna tell you, brother. There is
Not
no.
true.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've researched it, and I can tell you, there is no country that's doing well that don't have some form of taxes. Even Russia, even China.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
What about Dubai?
What about Dubai?
Their citizens are receiving stipends.
Yeah, but why is that? Dubai. All right, let's do this.
The government is wealthy already.
That's right. The government.
They're not.
Their government is wealthy already off of their oil, their reassources. And it's a very, very small country.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah. Think about this, though.
Right?
Think about this, though. Think about this. Think about this. Think about this. How big is Dubai's military?
They don't have one.
Right. They bought. They bought yours.
Okay. All right. They don't have a military, right?
Yes, they do.
What kind of military?
Yes, they do.
They have a military? Okay, I could be.
Yours.
I could be corrected. So Dubai. Go ahead, babe.
I said they bought yours.
Oh, okay. I got you. I understand that, and I believe it. I believe that. But all I'm saying is, and I will give you this, Alicia. We'll give you Dubai. We'll say that the Dubai is an exception. We'll say that the Dubai is an exception to the point I'm trying to make. We'll say for all intensive purposes that Dubai really doesn't have a tax system. All right, I'll give you that one.
Well,
now, give me another country.
Well, technically, any of the Middle Eastern countries over there that are oil rich, like Qatar is another one that they don't really need a military in the sense of they pay a stipend to their citizens because they're so wealthy.
Right.
That's a rarity. That's not most countries at all. Matter of fact, they're an extreme minority.
Right.
Countries like that.
Right.
And even Dubai is becoming a failure because they're not generating from a tourist standpoint, they're not generating the tourist attraction that they thought they were going to initially.
Right.
It's starting to show that's almost a failure the way it's playing out right now.
Right. And so again, what we're pointing out is that there's choices and alternatives to what we're talking about. Overall, we're talking about the government. We focused in on one part of the government, which is taxes. I'll tell you, man, I just took some money out of my TSP. You know what that is, Jackie. I just took some money out of my TSP. And you know how that worked, brother. I mean, when I took, and I don't have a problem with taxes. I'm going to be honest with you. Other than when I took that money out and they took the taxes out along with it. And it was like, are you kidding me? But then I had to come to the realization that it's about choices and alternatives, right? Choices and alternatives. I love living in this country. I love all of the perks that we get. And I do understand that without me paying taxes and other people, then those perks, they're going to be affected. But at the moment that I saw how much I had to pay in taxes, don't get me wrong, I wasn't flipping and turning flips and was all happy about that. I'm like anybody else. I would love an alternative to paying taxes. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd like to have an alternative to it. But at this point, I can't think of one. Me personally, I can't think of one. But anyway, go ahead, brother.
But this is the thing. The thing is, let me say this. What about why the government gives you your percentage on what they feel like should be paid, and not consider your everyday living?
So now repeat that again, Alicia.
I said they don't consider your everyday living. They consider what they want out of your money first before you pay your in-house bills to survive in America.
And you're absolutely right, but I think that's why they have these so-called income brackets. If you make a certain, and it's not perfect, I'm gonna be the first one to admit it. The system is not perfect. Right. The government ain't perfect, but they do have these things. They have these income brackets. So what they figure is you should be able to pay a certain percentage of your income in taxes. Now that's not going to work for some people, but for most of us, it works. They have to come. Here's the whole thing. They have to come up with some kind of system. So here we are, Alicia. You just brought up another good point.
And I get it. You come up with a system to tell me how and what I owe you.
Yeah. So you tell me a solution to that. You have poor people and you have rich people, and we all pay taxes. And right now, what we're talking about is because folks are poorer. Maybe they shouldn't be paying taxes, or maybe they shouldn't be paying as much in taxes. See, those are things that I think that we need to consider and think about. Another area that we're going to cover in this thing, like I said on another episode, is we're going to talk about politics, right? Well, now actually politics kind of tie into the government thing, but we're going to talk about that. That's why it's so important that we try to elect those representatives that we were talking about before to represent us. Neither side is perfect. Left, right, Republican, right, Democrat. Neither side is perfect. But what we should be looking at is which side seems to be representing us more. So this tax thing is a very good point that Aaron and Alicia, you guys have brought up. It's a very a good point that we should be thinking about, especially when we're talking about electing our government. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alicia.
And let me say this: even before your taxes are taken out for insurance, like I have to pay insurance based on my income.
Okay.
Not considering the taxes is just being taken out. They want to know your gross. What are you making before anything else? And,
right.
And that's based off of my income. And I don't know. I just don't think it's fair. I think it's not fair to me.
Right. And I get you. And I totally understand you. But again, here we're talking about choices and alternatives. What choices and alternatives do you have and I have as just citizens way down here on the totem pole, right? What choices and alternatives do we have to this tax system? The only one I can think of, you guys correct me, the only one I can think of, and even that one's not 100%, the only one I can think of is who we elect and put in office that's going to represent us. Because we don't control that. We don't control how much taxes, I don't think we do. We don't control how much taxes we pay or don't pay. It's the people in the government that does that. The people that we elect and put in these. That's why it's so important that we put the people in certain positions. I hate to do this, but I'm going to have to do it. I can't get away from it. It's still talking about government, right? We're still talking about government. Look at what's going on now with our government. Prime example, our president said that he can't be worried about paying for child care and food for people when he's got a war he's got to pay for. So that's a prime example of what I'm talking about. We have the president of the United States presently. His priority is not you, Alicia. It's not about you and your child care and your food. It's about a war. It's about the people who attacked the Capitol on January 6th. They got tried and convicted, sent to jail, and he let them out. And now he's going to give them some type of compensation for all that pain and suffering they went to. Now, I know I diverted a little bit, but we're still talking about politics. We're still talking about taxes and where our tax dollars go. And we're talking about our government, and we're talking about our representatives. That's how deep this... Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Let me add something to this. One of our biggest things, I think one of the biggest things that the American people don't do is understanding some of these laws, like tax code. Tax laws in this country are written for entrepreneurs. They're not written for employees. That's the first thing. Because successful people, financially successful people, business owners, they pay the least amount in taxes in the sense of how much their personal income is taxed, because they keep their income very low. Everything in their life becomes a write-off. So when these politicians get up every 4 years, every 2 years, talking about we're going to lower taxes, they're not lowering your taxes at all, because they're going to lower your taxes. They're going to make money, number one. Number two, you're not going to have the infrastructure. You're not going to have the military. You're not going to have the money for the military. They're not going to lower your John Q. Public taxes. They're going to lower the taxes of these corporate entities and these owners. That's who they're talking about. So basically, what I'm saying in this is you have to have a business and have some tax deductions from that business to be able to lower your taxes. Just going to work every day, you are a sitting duck for the IRS. And I've said that for 30 years. You are a sitting duck for the IRS. They are not going to lower your taxes if you are a W-2 employee, period. So how do you hedge yourself against that? You need a business. You need real estate. Even if you guys remember, when Mitt Romney was running for president, everyone clowned him. Started a campaign against him when they found out. I think he paid like $200,000 in taxes. But the reason he paid $200,000 because he's made money off of earned money, and and you get it with capital gains tax. It's a lower threshold. It's not ordinary income tax. You make money off investments. You make money off real estate. You're only sitting at about a 20% tax bracket. So because they figured this out, and Donald Trump said this to Hillary Clinton, if you start messing with these taxes, your donors are going to be affected. Of course, I'm going to take advantage of the tax laws. He said that in that debate.
Hold on.
He did.
What his exact words were, you won't change the tax laws because you and your friends benefit.
Correct.
So everything that you're saying that I did is true. But not only did I do it, everybody that you know did it. And the reason why you're not going to change it is because they benefit from it.
Correct.
That was the conversation in which I'm understanding what you're saying, Jackie. But if I'm correct in hearing you, you're saying it's not so much the problem is not so much taxes. The problem is that we're not educated on them.
That's part of the problem. I agree with Alicia. I believe taxes have always been too high. I 100% believe that. But are they going to lower your taxes because you and I got to complain about it? If we band together in this country as a whole country and stood up against the tax code, yes. But we won't do that as a group. We won't rebel like other countries do when they believe they're being taxed too much. We won't push back and fight against the current system as a whole. Because we're not willing to die behind what we believe in. We're sitting up.
Well, see, here's the thing.
Or you have an option to go learn the tax law.
Yeah.
find someone to teach you the tax law and move differently according to that.
Here's the thing. You guys are absolutely right about education and being informed. Here, you are absolutely right. Here's the thing. Again, we're still talking about government, and we're going to get into this political party thing here for a quick second. But here's the thing. The Republicans just passed, and this is talking about what you're talking about, Jackie. The Republicans, a year or so ago, how long ago, they passed this big, so-called big, beautiful bill. If you do your research and look into who that big, beautiful bill benefited, it benefited the rich as far as taxes, right? It was so, yeah. Well, at first we didn't. Then we got a little smarter. People did research. They actually changed the name of the bill. If you do some research, they changed the name of the bill now, trying to throw people off. But this is why it's very important to get back to what we were talking about earlier about government and about electing the people that's going to represent you. If you check into it, the Republicans are not representing you, Alicia. They're not representing you. That big, beautiful bill, and there's other ones, that big, beautiful bill is a prime example of who they are looking out for. Okay, but I'm sorry. Go ahead. You was going to say something else, Jackie?
No, I agree with you.
Okay.
We have to understand.
Yeah.
That again, John Q. Public is not going to benefit too much. Even if they lower your taxes, they're going to take it from you in some other way. We know that how it works because the government is not going to. They have no plans on receiving less money annually than they do right now. They're always trying to get more.
Okay. All right. I think you was going to say something, Aaron.
Yeah, I think we're going to deviate. I think the context is deviating toward a political party thing. When truth be told,
yes,
the rules of the game have always been whether Democrats or Republicans create the rules, neither one of them changes it because it benefits their constituency. The people who are funding their campaigns are the beneficiaries of these bad tax laws.
Right.
So if you have the opportunity to change it, you did just as much good as the person who you did just as much bad as the person who created it.
And I'm glad you stated what you just stated, Aaron, because one of the things I wanted to preface before we got started was that this conversation that you, Jackie, Alicia, me, this conversation that we're having, these are just four individuals with personal opinions, their own knowledge that we are sharing with other folks. Other folks are going to have to make their own mind up as far as what we are saying makes sense, or if it don't make sense. And if they are interested enough, maybe they'll do their own research and follow up and see whether or not what we're saying makes sense or if it don't. For me, this political thing, and we're still talking about government. Politics is a big part of government. And as I get further into this outline, you'll see what I'm saying. But it does matter. It's right now. If you look at where we're at now versus where the government that we have now versus the government that we had 2 years ago, us four on this panel here, maybe we don't see a difference. I don't know. I do. I see a difference between the government, this country, where we're at now versus where we were 2 years ago. And that's because we have different leadership. Now, again, it's just us four here. Our opinion, our perspectives. We see things one way. We all four don't see things the same way necessarily. But for the listeners out there, you make up your own mind and see what you see. That's the whole intent of this thing. But okay, go ahead. Anything else you want to add? Okay, guys. Yeah, we're back on. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I think it was you, Aaron. You were talking.
What I'm saying is, you can't commit acts of war, and because the people who were supposed to cut up were cowards and didn't do anything about it, and then say, well, he didn't start a war.
Right. I got you. Okay.
You can only start a war if somebody decides to fight back.
Yeah. Well, and I will say this too. Look. I will say this. We started off talking about choices and alternatives, and I will say this. I love America. But I'll tell you, man. No matter what president is in office, we can be treacherous. We can, and we have been. I have to acknowledge that. But what I also have to do is I have to make a choice. All right, I have to make a choice. I have to decide on who I would rather have represent me. For example, still talking about talking about government politics. Under the Obama administration, Cuba, brown people, Obama attempted to normalize relationship. You guys can check this out with Cuba. There's sanctions and different things he lifted on Cuba during his whole term. He was trying to establish good relationships. He's trying to help the Cuban people, brown people. Donald Trump come in, he undid all of that. He undid all of it. Joe Biden came back in, he tried to reestablish many of those things, and he did. He trying to establish a relationship with Cuba. Trump comes back in, he undoes those things, and he's still undoing things. And Cuba has been suffering the whole time. Now, I will have to acknowledge this. That whole thing with Cuba started way back when, before Biden, before Obama, before Trump. This country, for me, it was treacherous what we've done to Cuba all those years, whether it was a Democratic president or whether it was a Republican president. So don't get me wrong, brothers. I get it. The United States of America, I get it. I understand that we've done some terrible things. I understand that we still do some terrible things as a country, right? On the Democratic leadership, on the Republican leadership. But me, personally, I understand we start off talking about choices. We have choices and we have alternatives. And so that's how I look at this whole thing. So let me cover a few more things because we're going to end up closing here for a minute. And like I said, when we started, I wasn't sure we was going to get through this thing in the first place. But we had left off talking about, we agreed that every society probably in the world has some form of government. I hope we did. Do we agree with that? Probably every recognized society in the world has some form of government. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes,
okay. And in America, our primary government is divided into 3 separate branches of government. These are things you already know, but the legislative branch, and basically what they do is write and pass laws consisting of the Congress, and the Congress is divided into 2 chambers, House of Representatives and the Senate. So that's the legislative branch, and we vote for those people. We vote those people into office, vote them out of office too. The executive branch basically enforces the laws, and it starts with the president, the vice president, the president cabinet, and various federal agencies. Again, we basically elect those folks because when we elect that president, he or she is going to put those other folks in office. And then there's the judicial branch. This is the Supreme Court and some of the lower court judges. Those folks are appointed by whoever's in the White House, whoever the president is, whenever there's a vacancy. And again, we should be able to see the effects of that, because right now we have a 3 to 6 Supreme Court justice, 6 Republicans, 3 Democrats. And if you follow when there's major legislation that comes up, you can see that the 6 Republican appointed judges go with the Republicans, even when it's a violation of when they're talking about civil rights, when they're talking about voting rights, they go with the Republicans consistently. The 3 Democrats go the other way. They're more liberal. They have a tendency to lean more toward voting for the people. Is that agreed or not?
Okay, I agree with that.
Okay.
That was kind of long winded. I don't know if I agree with all of it, but I'll go with it. I'm gonna go with it.
Okay.
You kind of one of them, you know what I'm saying? You ain't one of them single bill issue only guys. I don't like that.
I hear you. I try.
You were so right with that. You were so right.
See, Jackie talked about that earlier, right at the beginning of the episode. Jackie said, "Just wait, he's coming." But Brother Aaron, and you're right. I'm trying not to be that way, but I try to make sure that folks have as much information as possible so that they can say this guy's full of BS or maybe he ain't. So that's all I was trying to say. But go ahead, brother.
All right. We can dress it up how you need to.
So a couple more points and we'll call it a day. So in an American, as an individual, I had a question. Do we have a different choice alternative to our form of government? In other words, we basically laid out the type of government that we have. As an individual living in America, do we have a choice or an alternative? We talked about the 3 levels of government, what they're supposed to do, yada, yada, yada. Do we have a choice or alternative against that? Or if we're going to live in America, we kind of got to go along with it?
Of course we don't. We do not have a choice.
Okay.
If you go live in this country, you don't have a choice. Even if you want to go live off the grid and become invisible, you still will fall up within this system.
You're right.
There's limits in it.
Yeah, you're right. And also, so in America as an individual, do we have a different choice or alternative to follow our government laws? We do. We have some choices. We don't have to follow our government laws, right? But there's consequences.
If you're willing to do it,
and remember those people in Wyoming about 6-7 years ago that basically stated that the government wasn't. I forgot the real issue, but I guess they were some government wanted to put pipelines through the land or take control of the land in some way. Yeah. There's not enough people who are ready to die.
Come on.
Right.
And every time you see a group of people who are ready to die, they look completely opposite of me.
Right.
Yes. And here's the thing about that group of people. If you notice, they never die.
They get shit done. They're correct.
They never die.
Yes.
And they get their desires.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with black people in mass, the problem with black America in mass is that they're not willing to change from the inside and they're not willing to die about their outside problems.
So brother, explain to me what you think black people might give me a cause, give me something, give me a reason. Tell me how that black folks are supposed to stand up. What are we talking about? Give me an example.
You know, here, this is going to sound truly messed up, and I'm okay with that because you don't get justice without being willing to. You remember? I was looking at a video of this black guy about this was I think last year. His son was killed due to police brutality.
Yes. Yeah, I knew it. Yeah.
And he ended up killing that officer.
No, he killed a bunch of officers. No, he killed a lot of officers. You're right. No, he didn't kill that officer.
I know he got the one that got his son, which was what really mattered. To be totally honest with you, until en masse we're willing to do that, we'll never get legislation.
Thank you.
And every nationality that did do that got preferential treatment here.
Okay. You can't say that outside loud.
I guess
because you're going to be viewed. You're going to be viewed as a terrorist.
Yeah.
You're going to be viewed as anti-American. You're going to have FBI knocking on your door.
I guess. See, Brother Aaron. Brother Aaron, I gotta keep remembering you only 40 years old. I gotta keep remembering that. I gotta keep remembering that you weren't alive in the 60s. And I know you know what happened in the 60s because you're a smart man. I know you know. But because you wasn't alive, you didn't go through it, it's probably not impacting you as much. Black folk did do just what you said. They did exactly.
Right, but religion divided us.
Yeah, I don't care about religion, all the rest of that. Black folk did, and there were some white folk that came along with us, but black folk did exactly what you said. When they felt that there was a cause, when they felt that they needed to be more represented, yada, 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 they did just what you said. And that's why we talked about the different houses, right? We talked about Congress. That's why today, when you look at the number of people of color and females versus the other side, that's a form of standing up. You see what I'm saying? That's representation. They are representing us. Okay? So what you're talking about has occurred. It is occurring today. It's just that we're not picking up arms. Look, come on, brother Aaron. No, Jackie been in the military. He know. What the hell we look like today, standing up as a group of folk? First of all, what percent of the population do we even represent? Right? Okay, what percent of the population do we represent? And then we're going to stand up against the system, against the government, and start trying to kill people? That's a sure way of being wiped out. But go ahead, brother.
No, Pop. No. We got to be willing to kill the one responsible. Not all, just the one responsible.
That ain't gonna work.
One that was
go ahead.
Someone that was responsible knew that this was a death sentence, I guarantee you, your black son come home.
No, brother, it's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. Those other folks out there, those other folks out there, some of them actually are looking for excuses to take us out.
Why did it work for the Italians?
What do you mean? I don't understand.
Why didn't it work for the Italians?
What do you mean?
The Italians were here in the 60s. The Italians were here in the 50s.
What? The Italians went through what we went through?
No, but they were willing to kill officers, so they didn't. Right.
Yeah. Italians, what color? Brother, let me remind you of something. Italians, what's their color?
What was their purpose?
No. You can't eliminate. Look, brother, let me tell you something. Here we go with America again. And I love America. Don't get me wrong. But I'm a realist. Look, let me tell you something else. No, let me finish. Let me tell you something else. I'm married to a white woman. I got white stepkids. Now, my white wife, she's going to hear this. She knows me. But let me tell you something. There is no doubt in my mind. That a white cop, he's going to have a whole lot less patience with me as a black man versus a white man doing the same thing. I'm not stupid. They will take us out, man. That Italian that you talking about, he white. Yeah, they going to hold back. Let me tell you, look at what happened at January 6th. You think a bunch of black folk would have been able to pull that off? What happened at January 6th? Come on now. Look at what those folks actually broke. They broke into the damn Capitol building, threatened to kill people, threatened to hang Mike Pence. You think a bunch of black folk could have got away with that? Come on, brother. Let's be serious. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But anyway, I'll give you the last word. I'll give all of y'all the last word, and then we'll close it out.
Okay. But this is the thing, because until I get to what Aaron is saying, until we're ready to die behind it, is what he's saying, then it's going to continue to happen.
Well, give me an example of what you're talking about continuing to happen, though. Let me put it this way. What's going on with black people today in America that's not going on with white people? What's going on in black America today? What's happening to black Americans today that's basically not happening to white folks that we need to stand up and fight for and die for? What? Give me an example, Alicia.
Let me throw something in there.
What was that?
Let me throw something in there.
Go ahead.
I'm saying, whatever we deem any level of inequality, or whatever it may be, because I hate when we want to zero down on this point. to racism. I'm not talking about that. Any inequality that we see within society, unless we're willing to, until we're willing to do exactly what Aaron just said, nothing is going to change. We are willing to do this collectively, whatever we see. I mean, whatever the issue is, it doesn't matter the issue. It matters what we do when we. Until we're willing to stand in front of a bulldozer, until we're willing to stand in front of that line of dogs, and somebody's gonna get bitten. They ain't gonna bite everybody. Until we're willing to make sure that we are 10 toes down, nothing is going to change. That's the reason why that pipeline didn't get pushed through. Because that demographic, whoever, the men, the women, the children, was out there in numbers, and you're not going to do this on our land. Guess what happened? Nothing happened.
Yeah, again, brother. All I can ask you to do, this is all I can ask you to do. Look at the color of those people. That's brother. That's all I can tell you to do. Look at the color of those people. I'm listening.
I'm gonna go a step further.
Go ahead.
I live in Dallas, Texas, in Frisco right now.
Mm-hmm.
They are pushing back. They wanted the Middle Easterners over here, and they're our color because of the money they brought in. Now these people are pushing. They're trying to ban them from building mosques, which they're not gonna be able to do because the money is following them. So we don't exercise our financial strength in the areas that it needs to be exercised.
I can't argue with you on that one. I can't argue with you on that one.
So we can't no longer use to say that this is just a color thing when these Middle Easterns look just like you and me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They stand together, they stick together, and they're going to force a change. They don't give a damn if white people like it or not. They are going to force this change. We're here now. We're here to stay.
And you bet not touch one.
And you bet not touch them.
Yeah.
They don't ever end up on the news.
Yeah.
They never end up there. It ain't because we won't do business with you. We gonna take one of you.
I got you.
We gonna send you.
What happened?
That's a death sentence. You touch that man.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, guys and gal, I think what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and bring this one to a close. We didn't finish, but like I said at the beginning, I thought maybe we wouldn't, but we covered a lot. We covered a whole lot, and so we'll go ahead and continue this episode next week, hopefully, if everybody's going to be able to. Listeners, we thank you for joining us. Again, we're always looking for feedback to help improve our presentation. So we're going to go ahead and give Jackie, Aaron, and Alicia a chance to say the last few words, and then we're going to sign off. Go ahead, guys.
Let me say
glad to be a part of a conversation that's truly going to last for about 6 episodes.
I think you're right.
Truth be told, I do appreciate the demeanor of this conversation a hell of a lot more than I've appreciated the others. The others required a level of feeling. Like there were times where even in this conversation, I was a part of it, cutting people off and you know such unpleasant characteristics. However, the conversation was always on point. We never really deviated away from the topic as it relates to feelings. We stayed on politics, and even Pops, I appreciate you demanding facts related to politics. It forces me to get better. I'll see you next week, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Brother Aaron. I appreciate you. Jackie, you had something?
Likewise. Yeah, I want to say that, hey, thanks for listening. This episode, I agree with Aaron. This episode was not so much feeling based, it's fact based. And I tell anybody out there that listen to me, I have this statement I have to repeat a couple times a day. Lower your voice, strengthen your argument. Sometimes I'm not the best at it. Yeah. I get emotional. We know some of us all get emotional depending on the subject. So I appreciate the listening ear. Appreciate the way you handled this today.
Right.
And we look forward to doing this again next week. Thank you, everybody that listens to this.
I appreciate you, Jackie, and I hear you on that lowering your voice thing. If you notice, I had to check myself there because I can tell my voice get a little loud. And I want to make sure folks understand that too. When that happens with me, I'm that type of person. I'm not angry. I'm not upset. It's just that I have to say, I guess I get a little excited, and then the next thing I know, my voice has went up 10 levels. But thank you guys. All right, go ahead, Alicia.
Hold on, my brother Aaron will get off. Hold on, Lisa. My brother Aaron will get off this podcast and call me and say, "Well, you can't do that." So there's accountability on this side of it. I promise you. You ain't got no problem checking.
Well, look. I'm gonna tell you something right now. I'm gonna be honest with you. No. I'm gonna tell you something right now. The reason I love you guys and I appreciate you is you state your mind. That's what we need to do. We don't have to agree. You know, I love the fact that you are who you are, Jackie. I love the fact you're who you are, Aaron, and same thing with Alicia. That's what we need. We need to hear from everybody, not people that just agree with us. We need to hear from everybody. And Jackie, the way you come off, brother, that's just who you is. You know, you get your point across the way you are. You know, I'm okay with it. I don't have a problem with it. And if the listeners have a problem with it, what did we start off with? Choices and alternatives. People have choices and alternatives. So we come up with some topics and subjects that we want to cover, dealing with common sense, and we cover it the best way we can. And I appreciate that. I'm sorry, Alicia.
No, I know you're good. I just, I'm going to do some, take pop advice as well. I'm going to go do some research, and I look forward to circling back.
Okay, and that's good. And Alicia, if there's a particular area you're looking at and you think you need some assistance, or if there's something I said, not just Alicia, but if there's something that I said, and listeners too, please, if there's something I said that you don't agree with and you've got a different point and you can show me, please, I encourage you to do that, because even in my old age, I'm still trying to learn. I don't want to be a old dumb fool, so to speak, right? Just because I'm old, I know there's a lot of things I don't know and I can learn. So I appreciate the opportunity to do that. So while you're doing your research, just let me know if you need anything. Okay, guys. Okay, guys. That sounds like that's it. Listeners, again, as always, thanks for listening. We look forward to hearing from you with your feedback, good, bad, however it might be. It's going to help us, and in the long run, it'll help you. So thank you. We're going ahead and sign it off now.
Think it through, people.